Hi, and welcome to Charcuterie with Uncle Gregg. I'll be your host, Uncle Gregg, and I have a very special guest today, my friend Andrew. And
Thanks
Andrew's
for having
going
me.
to help me and hopefully ask me questions about things I'm doing because I forget every bloody thing. But anyway, today we're going
Speaking
to be
of
working.
which,
What?
How about the Wednesday Charcuterie
Oh,
Club?
I forgot to mention that. Andrew is also a member. We have a Charcuterie Club every first Wednesday of the month, and we have it at the Blue Water Lounge, which is kind of like a multi-purpose lounge because we had church services there for, 3 months? They now have a backyard chicken club starting. So they have a running club on Tuesdays.
Right.
So they have all kinds of strange
And
things
the
going on
delicious Charcuterie
there.
Club.
And the Charcuterie Club, which
Good time,
a
good
lot of
food.
members come in and they bring in their samples of the things they've created and done, and everybody tastes it, and they have comments and to better it or maybe not better it.
Sure.
But it is a good time. Today we're going to be working on sausages, and an easy way to make sausages and fast. And this is really done in smaller portions, so
Sure.
you can do these at home. You come home from work and you got a taste for a Polish sausage, but you don't feel like going to the store. So get yourself some pork shoulder, which you probably all have in your refrigerators.
I have it all the time,
Absolutely.
sitting around.
Who doesn't? Really, think about it. But we're going to start. We're going to get that out of the refrigerator.
Thank goodness it's refrigerated,
Yes.
right? That is,
And that's one thing you want to do is always keep any meat
Yeah.
you're working with cold. Prevent any type of airborne illnesses. All right, this is the pork shoulder. As you can see, it has bone in. You can also see the bone in. Basically, you carve this up, cube it, grind it. Now, how do you grind it?
yeah, that's
Many ways.
exactly what I was going to ask you.
You can use that old-fashioned grinder. People use this to this day. The
I've never
old-fashioned-
used one of these.
You really?
Never.
No, yeah. Down to a cane, put in your meat, grind it. Yeah. Now they have the
Okay.
new ones, obviously. You know, the electric.
Sure.
They're
Then you have
much
to have
easier.
something there to catch the
Right.
ground meat,
put it under
right?
a bowl or pan.
Keep it sanitary.
And now the new grinders have very large pans, so you can take large amounts of meat.
Sure.
To put it in there.
This looks kind of not so fun to clean,
No, it all
but
comes-
that's
it all
that's
comes
why it's the
apart.
old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably never cleaned it. But anyway, it's the old-fashioned way. I
Sure.
personally sometimes will use a kitchen processor.
Food
Real quick.
processor.
Ding, 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 whatever they call those.
Give it a
things.
pulse
That's
or
a
two?
modern thing for Dad, and I'm an old man.
Okay,
Yeah, pulse
sure.
or two till you get the right
No argument there, but
texture of
yeah.
what you want to do. My grandmother, I don't ever remember her using grinders or anything. I remember
Okay.
when she'd make sausage, she'd hand chop it.
Really?
Honest to God, she'd take this and hand chop and dice it because she always liked little chunks of meat, not ground up meat.
Okay.
And I kind of prefer that myself. And if
Sure.
you make sausage, you can have the ground meat, but also little tiny bits
Kind
of
of
chunks.
minced.
Yeah,
It's
not
grandma
really.
tenacity, right?
Not
We
heavy
don't see
chunks.
that anymore.
No.
No.
So we're going to start, number one, with a mixing bowl or some large.
Sure.
We're going to place our ground pork. In this recipe, I'm going to give it to you now, is we have 4 pounds of pork, ground pork. I don't need to show you how to grind it because you can figure that one. It's not brain surgery.
We've discussed it.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're going to do
What do we
half a
need?
pork fat.
Right?
This is fresh Polish sausage we're doing today.
Yes.
For this one, we're doing Polish. So we're going to add some.
And then why do we add?
The reason
Why are
I
we
add-
adding fat?
The reason I add that fat.
Forgot one. There we go.
Because it gives it extra moisture to the meat.
Okay.
Now I've had Polish sausages. The other guys have made it, and we tried it. And the only time I ever had one of them, and they were all very good because everybody
Yeah.
has their own little recipes. Was one that was very dry. And the reason why it was so dry, there wasn't enough fat in it. This fat kind of dissipates in the meat after it's cooked anyway.
Okay.
Not fully.
Gives
but
it some flavor
it's-
and some moisture.
I don't think the flavor as much as the moisture. We need
Okay.
the moisture.
Yeah.
Then we're going to use.
So what gives the sausage flavor? Is it some of these other things
What
then?
we're going to do now, we're going to do 2 tablespoons fresh garlic.
Okay.
Very good. And fresh garlic.
Right.
Also, I'm going to use dry garlic.
And that jarred chopped garlic, that's no good,
No, I
right?
wouldn't use that. I
We don't want to use that.
And this is garlic powder.
Right.
For this recipe, we use 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. In
Okay.
addition, I wouldn't use just straight garlic powder unless that's all you had and you have to use it, that's fine, but I prefer to have fresh garlic in it.
And don't breathe that in either.
No.
So,
And we're going to also do
the
half teaspoon.
marjoram.
You can do, well, this is something I'm going to add,
Okay.
but as I remember, my grandpa never put marjoram in anything.
Okay.
but a lot of recipes call for it. I don't know if it adds that much flavor.
You can sneak some in
I have a
and see what happens,
half
right?
a teaspoon of that. We're going to throw
That's
right in the batch.
how the
Next we have
sausage crumbles.
Black pepper.
okay.
Black pepper, it's a half a teaspoon. I tend to add a little more because I like black pepper in it.
Black pepper is good. It's
And
good
I like
for
to
you.
see it within the sausage.
Yeah.
Next one we're going to use is salt.
Okay.
I use a
What-
kosher salt.
Okay.
And for this recipe, my salt is 1 teaspoon of salt.
So it's not as much salt as you would think
You can
for
add
a sausage,
more,
right?
I'll explain after we
Sure.
get this going here.
What else
There
do we
is
need?
2 more things which I'm not going to add. One is pink cure or Instacure or sodium nitrite, which is number 1 actually, is for prevention of airborne diseases such as botulism. But if you're holding the sausage for a long time, maybe a couple of days in the fridge, you may want to use that.
That's probably
I don't
too long.
use it because, well, probably.
Yeah.
But if it's fresh sausage, it will last several days.
Sure.
Or you could freeze it.
And you start clean, stay clean, and
Start clean, stay clean.
you don't
fine.
need that.
You don't need to use
Okay.
that.
Sure.
The
And
next
then-
one I have, I personally like it. A lot of people don't. I add a little monosodium glutamate. I just like it.
Monosodium glutamate?
Monosodium glutamate.
MSG?
MSG, yes.
Yeah, that was, a lot of people had some
they
reservations
frown on
about
it.
that, but
The next thing we're
heard
going to
it's
use are
good.
sausage casings.
Okie doke.
And they should be in a
We have
container there.
some.
A big container. You can work on that. In the meantime, mix it thoroughly. A lot of people, when you're making the initial sausage, what you like to do is mix it very well, very thoroughly, and then sometimes cover it and put it in refrige overnight to let the flavors kind of develop within each other. It's not really necessary because if you're going to eat the sausage right away or do it for dinner in 1, 2, 3, and this is the really quick recipe, you don't have to get into that. And if you're going to hold it, let's say overnight, the sausage in the
Sure.
refrigerator, the flavors are kind of mellow out within the sausage itself.
And is that uncased? You let it sit overnight, or you're going to case
No,
it up and let it
You could do it
sit?
either way. A lot of
Okay.
people uncased, cover it, refrigerate it. Some people case it in the sausage in the skins there and hold it over, or do
Sure.
it right away. It one way or the other, it doesn't really
There is
matter.
no wrong way to do it.
No.
Okay. So people shouldn't be afraid to
No.
make some sausage.
Now, where would you get casings? People ask all the time.
That's a great question.
I'm not going to show you the trade name because they didn't sponsor us. But anyway, they're hog sausage casings. And what is a hog sausage casing? The intestine of a hog.
Sure,
It has
but
been
now
cleaned, thoroughly cleaned, and then
Yeah.
they pack these in salt. And they're semi-dry because the salt is taking out moisture from the casing itself. But what you want to do to rehydrate it would be soak it in warm water, like I've done with these casings.
okay.
And I'm going to move this here. But
This is where
rather
it
than
really gets
stuff
interesting.
It into it will.
Yeah.
A stuffing machine like this, which is a heavy-duty stuffing machine. On the end, you put yourself your casing tube.
That pressurizes it.
Put the sausage in here. It's
Sure.
I think we're going to be. If you did this, it's like 5 pounds for this container itself.
Yeah, it looks about
Go
right.
down. And
Sure.
basically, all you're doing then is
It's just compressing
Right,
it,
compressing
pushing it
down
out.
and putting the casing
Right.
over that. But we're not going to do that because
No.
we have. The reason why I'm not doing it, it's so bulky, it's too much to clean, and we're making
Sure.
it such a small amount of sausage.
Yeah.
This is the hardest part, I think, of making sausages. At least for me, it is to find the bloody hole to get this puppy on here, and I can.
But you said they clean these,
These are clean.
so they're not bloody anymore.
Well, no, but I say that word
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
because I
Sure.
hung around those kind of bars
Old
for a while.
school. That's
Yeah.
grandma. Grandma used to use those words.
She did.
Yeah.
Now, once we get the casing,
Oh, almost.
yes,
There you go.
right.
Looks good. So really, all you need is a funnel and some meat and some spices.
It works better
You're
without,
on your way, right?
without rubber gloves.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough with these kind of gloves. I'm having a hard time with rubber gloves.
Don't
like
cry.
it.
It's
I'm not
okay.
gonna cry.
All right.
I just don't like it. I can't grip on it. That's the problem, see?
Uh-oh.
And
You want me to
basically
try
what
to help you
you
with
can
that?
hold that up straight.
Okay.
And we want to center it. You don't have to go too high. It's not the Eiffel Tower. There you go.
Okay.
And then we're going to go down like this, and we.
Oh, you're going to push it onto, feed it onto.
We're feeding it on this little funnel.
Okay.
Now you say, why a funnel? I never remembered my grandpa ever using a sausage stuffer. He always used, years ago on the farm.
Well, he must have.
No, on the farm he used a cow horn.
Oh, wow.
And he cut off the tip of the cow horn, which was basically a funnel. And I can remember him sitting there, and he wasn't doing like 3 pounds. He was doing like 25 to 50 pounds.
Oh, I've heard some of the stories,
in a cow horn.
Huh.
There we go. So I'm going to do it that way.
Okay. You just needed to get it started in a good
And we can push
amount of
it
it on there.
to. Basically, this is all I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
As fast as you can do it. I prefer this bowl over me like that. There you go.
Okay. Get your casing.
This is faster than you can imagine. Most people who use I agree, if I'm making a large amount, I would certainly use a stuffing machine. But this is such a small amount. You
Well, look
don't
at you
need
go.
to do that.
Yeah, wow.
You can go in as fast as you can possibly do it. In fact, if they speed this up on fast motion, like in 30 seconds we'll be done.
This would be like 15 seconds probably of sausage
less,
stuffing.
yeah.
That's typical though.
Right.
I mean,
it's really easy to get in there once you do it.
yeah, it looks good.
See?
It's actually starting to look like sausage.
It is a sausage.
Yeah.
Now.
Look at that.
I don't know if I should do the whole thing. The whole idea is to get the process of knowing what you're going to do.
We'll finish it up later.
Absolutely. But I want to show you how easy this is. And you can do this, like I say, you can do this for dinner at home
Sure.
real quick.
Look at that.
Very hard to work with these gloves, I can tell you that much. I may not next do it.
Just have to take them off, you know.
Now, because this is an end piece and I don't have enough length, I'll probably tie it off. And you can tie it off with,
Yeah, how would you do that?
with a little
Oh,
string.
there you go.
Very simply, take the end of your
Sure. Let me get
casing.
this out of the way.
right here.
I'll just hold it.
Do a simple knot. That's one.
Sure.
One thing you need to remember when you're doing this, and I'm going to put it here, and I didn't bring my little, you can use a toothpick. You can use a little device. What it is many little, what do you want to call them? Like needles coming off
Thingamajiggies?
The thingamajiggy,
Sure.
needles coming off of that thing. Or
Yeah.
I can do, I wouldn't do the whole
Oh,
knife.
you want to
but
aerate.
You want, well, the only
Little
reason-
bit?
I'm not really aerating as much as I'm just trying to get the air bubbles out of it.
Okay.
So when I form the sausage, that's all we need to do.
So you tie the one end and then you twist and
Or
that's
you
it.
could- you don't have to tie the one end. You
Sure.
could tie the casing into a
The
knot
end of it, sure.
and then do it.
Makes even more sense. But if
That
you were
doesn't
going to
make
hang
sense.
it up,
Yeah,
that's a different kind of sausage.
yeah,
isn't
that's a
it?
dry sausage.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do dry right now. We're going to do this. Or you can make it tiny little sausages like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
It's kind of like
good.
a balloon artist.
That's like a little-
Let me make a poodle for you. Who's a little poodle? No,
Yeah, you should have made a longer one so that we could have
yeah, we could have made
You know.
little sausage animals. Hey, this is cool. Hey, kids.
sausage origami, but that's not the right
I don't
word.
know how well that would go at a carnival making sausage animals, but well,
You never know.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty fun things at carnivals.
I think it'd be kind of great for a 4-H
There's
club.
fun people at
Don't you
carnivals
think?
too.
Making-
Absolutely.
Making little sausage.
Yeah. So
So there we have it.
certainly interesting.
You can cut these a little shorter if you want. This you can either grill, fry,
It's ready to go.
or it's ready to go. And this is Polish.
Put it on the grill, fry it, throw it in the oven.
My
What's the best way to
years
do that?
ago, I remember one woman. She used to always boil it. And
Yeah.
actually, Polish people, she did at least. She would boil the Polish sausage, and then from that Polish sausage water, make what they call a white borscht.
And that's just a
For the
broth.
flavoring, like a start. You know, it's a start. The
Sure.
broth is start.
Sure.
But I would also like to give a shout out to our sponsors, And
Yeah.
that's Tish Refiner Foods in Brookfield, who's
Great
donated
place.
very generously to us.
Yeah.
Also, Havlick Woodworking donated cutting boards. And this one's interesting because this is
Yeah.
made of
What is that?
acacia wood. At least that's what he told me it was, acacia wood. It's kind of it's a nice cutting boards. Actually,
Very nice.
excellent cutting boards.
Yeah, it's got
I'm
a
gonna-
pretty good tight grain.
It's have a
Looks
nice-
like it's not going to
Not at
keep a
all.
lot of food particles
Not at
in there,
all.
which is also good about
And even though nowadays
safety.
they prefer that you use a plastic rather than a wood because those are the old days.
Yes.
So if we'll go over this real quick, one fast time, 4 pounds of pork.
For your
Pork
fresh
shoulder.
Polish sausage.
For the fresh Polish sausage recipe. 1/2 pound of pork fat, 2 tablespoons of fresh garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of majoram, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, but I would prefer more than that because I like it. And either the MSG if you want, or the curing salt if you want, but I don't want to use the curing salt at this point. So
And there we have them.
there we have them.
Beautiful, delicious sausages,
Right.
fresh made.
Till the next one,
amazing.
we're gonna do a different sausage, and I'll show you how to
Yeah.
do that real quick too. Thanks for watching.